All right. Hey, all you witches and beautiful spiritualists, it's me, Prosperity Witch Ellie. And welcome back. Today, we are talking about yet another season, time of year, whatever you want to call it. One of my favorites, and I know, I say that for every single time I make one of these videos, but this one takes the cake because we are talking about spring. Well, rather, the Spring Equinox, also known as Ostara. And before any of y'all come at me, I know Ostara and the Spring Equinox are two different things, but for the purpose of this video, I am going to be using those two terms interchangeably. That being said, as always, I have Year of the Witch by Temperance Alden, as well as my own personal genosis for my sources for this video, and of course, I've written my notes. And as always, I never know how long these videos are going to be, so grab yourself a drink. Today, I am drinking Red Bull because believe me, I need it. And let's get right into it, shall we? Let's go. So let's talk about the Spring Equinox. Okay, so first and foremost, what it means to me, the Spring Equinox to me is a time where life starts popping up again. I mean, you get to see it outside. All the birds, all the animals that went in hibernation, they're now waking up, they're coming back, they're being like, hey yo, I'm done with my long slumber, I'm done with my whatever the heck I was doing throughout all of winter, and I am here and I'm making myself known. But yeah, so that's relatively what spring means to me. It's all about life, the return of life, and kind of like a state where we were all asleep or we were all dormant in some degree. And now it's time for us to get back into our game, get back into whatever we were doing, because much like the sun, I'll put it that way, much like how the sun goes away and, winter and all that is considered the darker half of the year, we are now moving towards the lighter half, the return of the sun and all of it. Okay, so Ostara, Ostara, what it means. Okay, so Ostara, what I've learned, it really means east or dawn, which symbolizes the return of the light. The Spring Equinox, which falls on either March 20th or 21st, this is a time period where it marks the ending of winter and the beginning of true spring. Ostara's day, goddess of fertility, renewal, rebirth, and new beginnings, also associated with hares and eggs to represent overall life and abundance. In ancient times, Ostara's Day was celebrated as a time of planting, a time of planning, in order to grow and be in harmony with nature's cycles. And of course, as Christianity spread throughout Europe, Ostara's traditions became blended and what is known today as Easter, which still carries themes of rebirth and renewal to this day. Okay, so let's talk about the spirits of this time, or rather the deities of this time. So if you're like me and you're not really on a Germanic path, but you still want to honor a deity or deities, I've compiled a small little list of other deities from other pantheons for you to potentially acknowledge today. And starting off with the Greek and Roman pantheon, as always, we have Persephone and Demeter, Persephone being the goddess of spring, vegetation, and of the underworld. It is said that her return from Hades marks the renewal of life. And again, we have her mother, Demeter. She is the goddess of agriculture and the harvest, and she has deep roots and connections to the cycles of life and growth. Now, a not so commonly named goddess around this time of year is the Roman goddess Flora, who is quite literally depicted as the goddess of flowers, springtime, and of vegetation. Moving on to the Norse or Germanic pantheon, and please forgive me because I know I'm going to butcher most of, if not all of these names. We have the following. There's Freyr, the god of fertility, agriculture, and prosperity, who is often linked with the return of warmer weather. Oh god, this is the one that I'm going to butcher. We have Idun, and she is the goddess of youth and renewal. And she is also said to be the keeper of the golden apples, which gave the gods of that pantheon eternal life. And of course, we have the namesake of the holiday, Ostara, the goddess Ostara herself, who is the goddess of dawn, of spring, and renewal. Okay, so next we have the Celtic list that I compiled. Well, I say list, it's only one spirit, but anyways, so next on my list we have, and I'm so sorry, I'm going to butcher this, Bloodwyd, who is said to be the Welsh goddess created from flowers herself, and is said to be associated with the cycles of nature and rebirth. Okay, so moving on, we have the Kemetic pantheon or the Egyptian pantheon. I love you, Shawnee, again. So if you're looking to work with these spirits, I would recommend working with Osiris and the goddess Isis. Osiris being the god of resurrection and fertility, and he is linked to the renewal of life and flooding of the Nile. And of course, we have Isis, who is actually the goddess who brought Osiris back. She is the goddess of magic and, I believe, fertility, which in this case resembles her kind of connection to the renewal of life. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty part of this video. Let's talk about ways to celebrate, and as always, I have this section separated from non-witchy ways to celebrate to witchy ways, and we're gonna be starting with the non-witchy ways. So first thing on this part of my list is to, as always, wear the colors of the season. Now this includes obvious greens, pinks, blues, whites, oranges, kind of like a peachy orange if you can, lavenders, and soft purples. As you can see, I got a little dressed up for this video. Got my mushroom shirt, my green, my veil, and everything. I try so often. I try. Anyway, moving on, the next part of our non-witchy ways to celebrate is to spend time in nature. Because what better way to celebrate the spring equinox than to go out and enjoy spring itself? I'm talking go on walks, do some gardening. Overall, just do what you can to enjoy fresh air. It is a good time. It is a good day, hopefully. By the time I'm recording this, it's actually next week. So go out in nature, hug a tree, touch some grass, and just be a part of it. Okay, so the next part of my non-witchy ways to celebrate is to decorate with spring-related items. That being like decorate with flowers or florals, decorate with egg-themed items, decorate with just spring-themed items. The idea behind this is to bring the energy of spring into your home and really acknowledge it, especially if you probably have allergies or something, so you can't always go outside, which I suffer from every so often, so I get it. And of course, where would I be without suggesting the all-timely classic of doing some amazing spring cleaning? Get rid of the clutter, get rid of the junk, and make room for the new. Okay, so that was my non-witchy ways. Now let's move on to the witchy ways. The first item on this list being honor the spirits or deities or whatever you have, honor the spirits of this time. I mean, it doesn't have to be deities like the ones I mentioned earlier. It could be just simple nature spirits, like the element of Earth itself. It could be going outside and just having some fun with the trees, the grass, the ground, whatever that is around you that is considered a nature spirit. Honor it, like give it thanks because you are on its land and you should just be allowed to be a part of its system, you know? Okay, so in the more spell or ritual part of this list, I have do some egg-based spells or rituals. Those being spells or rituals involving fertility, involving growth, creativity even. And yes, you can use eggs in a creativity spell. I've done this before. If you want an example, let me know and I'll try. And much like I always suggest in my previous videos about the seasons, do some divination on this time of year. Really try to focus on, hey, anything that you need to get rid of in order to make room for the new. Really focus on ways you can grow throughout the next parts of the year. And finally, the last thing on my witchy ways to celebrate is to do some ritual for overall balance and harmony, because honestly, I know all of what I said earlier, but to me, that is also a big part of the spring equinox. Okay? So that is all I have on this video. Let me know in the comments what you're doing to celebrate this time of year, if you're doing anything. Let's make a chat about it, you know how I am. But yeah, overall guys, I hope you all have an amazing spring equinox if you choose to celebrate and acknowledge it. Ostara, if that's your thing, whatever you do around this time of year, I hope it brings you the blessings, the joy, the sense of renewal and rebirth, and everything under the sun that you deserve. Anyways, I've been rambling on for quite a little bit. My voice is starting to get a little hoarse, so I'm gonna go. If you enjoyed, leave a like. Like I said, comment down below. Let's make this a discussion. Share and subscribe for more in the future. And as always, make wise choices, make delicious pizza, and I will see you all in the next one. Mwah. Bye.